The oil fields are roaring again, and the silence between the power players is breaking. In episode 4, pressure builds so fast that even the people who thought they were untouchable start to shake. Something dangerous is moving in the dark, and every decision made now could destroy everything they've been fighting for. This first look pulls you straight into the storm because the calm is long gone. And what's coming next will push every character to the edge. The night settles over the oil fields like a heavy blanket, but the ground won't stop trembling. Rumors spread faster than the wine. Someone has stepped out of line. Someone has pulled a string they shouldn't have touched, and now the whole operation feels tense. Everyone senses that episode 4 is not just another chapter. It's the moment when control slips, when alliances crack, and when the truth begins to push its way to the surface no matter how hard anyone tries to bury it. You can almost feel the shift through the dust in the air, as if the land itself knows that something big is about to happen. For weeks, power has been shifting behind closed doors. Deals were whispered, lies were polished, and trust was slowly drained away. But now all the small moves finally matter. Decisions made in secret are about to show their weight, and the characters who felt secure in their positions begin to realize how thin the ground beneath them really is. Episode 4 focuses on this shaking foundation, how everyone tries to keep standing while the pressure turns heavier by the minute. Boone, who once walked through the field with confidence, now finds himself caught between rising demands and hidden threats. Every phone call feels loaded. Every conversation seems to hold a second meaning. It's getting harder for him to tell who's being honest and who's setting a trap. He knows one wrong step could ruin everything, but he also knows doing nothing might be even worse. That fear is what drives him deeper into the shadows of episode 4, searching for answers before the truth hits him harder than he can handle. Meanwhile, the people around him feel the tension too. Some are watching closely, ready to take advantage of his uncertainty. Others are trying to protect their own secrets, hoping no one notices the quiet panic inside them. There's a sense that a storm is building, slow, heavy, and impossible to escape. Every scene carries a small spark of danger, as if any word or action could set off a chain reaction none of them are prepared for. The balance of power is so fragile now that even a whisper could break it. Episode 4 teases this tight, dangerous air from its very first moments. Shadows stretch longer than usual. Footsteps echo deeper. Even the smallest detail feels important. There's something hidden in the edges of the story, something waiting to be revealed. Characters lower their voices, avoid eye contact, and start looking over their shoulders more often. The sense of paranoia grows quietly, wrapping around the narrative like a tightening rope. But the tension isn't only political. There's an emotional weight pressing down on everyone involved. Personal lines begin to blur with business, and loyalties that once seemed unshakable now feel uncertain. Old wounds resurface, new doubts appear, and each character must decide whether to fight, trust, or walk away. These choices create a slow burn that leads straight into the explosive energy of the rest of the episode. By the time the first section of episode 4 unfolds, it's clear that this is the turning point. It's the moment before the break, the breath before the blast. The land looks calm, but every viewer knows something is about to snap, and once it does, nothing in this world will stay the same. The tension in episode 4 grows heavier as the sun rises over the oil fields, bringing with it a new layer of pressure that no one can ignore. What felt like whispers in the dark now becomes a visible shift in the daylight. People who usually move with confidence start to hesitate, and the weight of hidden decisions begins to leave marks on their faces. The air feels thick with worrying, and every step taken seems like it could lead to either a breakthrough or a disaster. Episode 4 pushes deeper into this uneasy atmosphere, revealing how the smallest change in behavior can expose a secret no one was ready to share. Boone's world becomes even more complicated as new information reaches him, details that should have stayed buried. For the first time, he senses that he isn't just dealing with rivals. He's facing people who are ready to risk everything for control. This realization shakes him in ways he didn't expect. His instincts, once sharp and reliable, now feel clouded by doubt. He tries to keep his reactions stable, but inside, the pressure is building. He knows that if he shows even a hint of weakness, someone will use it against him. Every moment becomes a test of how much he can hide behind calm expression and steady breath. Around him, the field workers feel the change too. There's a quiet nervousness spreading through them, even though many don't fully understand what's happening behind the scenes. They can sense when leadership is unsettled, and episode 4 uses this shift to deepen the story's tension. Some workers start whispering among themselves about strange movements in the upper ranks. Others begin watching their surroundings more carefully, noticing things they used to ignore, meetings happening at odd hours, familiar faces avoiding eye contact, and unexpected visitors who seem to arrive with hidden motives. The unease spreads like a slow, creeping wave. Meanwhile, a new figure steps into the spotlight. Someone who has been operating quietly until now finally makes a move that changes the direction of everything. Their presence is calm but strategic, and episode 4 paints them as a growing threat not through loud actions, but through the subtle ways they influence the world around them. Their words carry double meanings, their timing is too perfect, and their intentions remain unreadable. This character's arrival doesn't just shake Boone's confidence, it reawakens old rivalries and forces other characters to question their own loyalties. The impact is immediate, though no one dares to admit it out loud. Emotions start mixing with strategy, making every decision more dangerous. Trust becomes harder to earn, and tension grows inside relationships that once felt unbreakable. Some characters begin to withdraw, choosing silence over confrontation. Others grow bold, convinced that they must act now before someone else gains the upper hand. The emotional strain becomes clear. Fear is no longer something they can push aside. Episode 4 shows how personal doubts can spill into professional choices, causing mistakes that could put everything at risk. As the day continues, a sense of urgency begins to pulse beneath the surface. People move faster, speak sharper, and watch more closely. It feels as though everyone is preparing for something they can't fully explain, something that pulls them forward even while it scares them. This build-up gives episode 4 a relentless energy, as if every scene is counting down toward a moment that will shatter the fragile balance that remains. By the end of this section, the pressure has grown into a nearly physical force. The land feels restless. The people feel cornered. The truth feels dangerously close to breaking out. Episode 4 makes it clear that no matter how much the characters try to stay in control, the situation has already slipped into something bigger than any of them can contain. And once the next shock hits, there will be no turning back for anyone involved. As the day fades into evening, episode 4 slips into a deeper and more dangerous tone. The calm colors of daylight fade, and the oil fields start to glow under the hard lights of machinery. It's in this fading light that true intentions begin to take shape. People who stayed quiet all day finally step into motion, and the silence that once protected them begins to break. Episode 4 leans into this growing darkness, showing how fear and ambition become stronger when the sun goes down and shadows stretch long across the ground. Boone senses the shift before he even hears the news that reaches him. A message arrives short, sharp, and impossible to ignore. It confirms what he has feared since the beginning. Someone within his circle has made a move that could destroy everything he's been holding together. The message doesn't name anyone, but the implications are clear enough to send a cold wave through him. He reads it twice, trying to steady his breathing, but the words refuse to lose their weight. This moment becomes a turning point, not because he finally sees the threat, but because he realizes how close it has been all along. As Boone tries to process the truth, the environment around him begins to shift. People who usually greet him with ease now avoid his path. Doors close a little faster when he approaches. Conversations die mid-sentence the moment he enters a room. Episode 4 uses this change to uncover the hidden cracks beneath the surface. The people Boone once trusted now seem like strangers wearing familiar faces. Their reactions don't betray guilt, but they reveal something worse: fear. Fear that whatever is coming will drag them down too. Meanwhile, the new figure introduced earlier begins weaving their influence more openly. They don't shout or demand attention. They simply appear at the right places, speak to the right people, and leave behind a trail of unsettled energy. It becomes clear that they're not just stirring trouble, they're shaping the battlefield. Episode 4 highlights how power isn't always taken by force. Sometimes it's taken by patience, timing, and the ability to make others doubt themselves. This character becomes the silent storm forming behind the larger conflict, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The workers continue to notice the changes around them. Their routines feel heavier, and even the sound of the rigs seems sharper than usual, like the land itself is reacting to the tension in the air. Some workers start questioning whether they're safe, whether the problems above them will come crashing down on everyone below. Rumors begin spreading faster, growing with each retelling. People hear about meetings happening late at night, about documents being hidden, about sudden shifts in responsibility. The uncertainty becomes a living thing that moves between them, making the entire field feel unstable. As night deepens, Episode 4 brings emotions to a boiling point. Relationships that were already strained now feel like they're on the verge of breaking. Arguments start from almost nothing. Small misunderstandings turn into heated confrontations. People pull away at the exact moment they should hold on. The emotional weight becomes too heavy for certain characters to carry, and they begin to act on impulse. Some choose to protect themselves, even if it means betraying someone else. Others cling to their loyalty, even though they know it might lead them into danger. Boone's own emotions shift from confusion to determination. He realizes that waiting for the truth to come to him isn't enough. If he wants answers, he has to chase them down himself, even if it means stepping into a path filled with risks he can't predict. Episode 4 captures this with a slow, growing intensity, showing him walking into the unknown with a mixture of fear and resolve. He knows he's running out of time, and every moment he hesitates gives his enemies more space to move. By the end of this section, the world of Episode 4 feels like it's standing on the edge of a cliff. The darkness has settled, the players are in position, and the truth is inches away from breaking open. The energy becomes almost electric and steady, powerful, and ready to spark. One wrong move from any character could trigger a chain of events that none of them can control. And as the night deepens, that moment of eruption draws closer, promising that the next shift will change everything. The night in Episode 4 grows heavier, almost as if the darkness itself is holding its breath. Every sound feels sharper now, every movement more meaningful. It's the kind of night where nothing stays hidden, even though everyone is trying to bury their secrets deeper. The air carries a sense of waiting, like the entire land is preparing for an impact that has been building since the start of the season. Episode 4 steps into this final stretch with a slow, rising tension that wraps itself around every character and every choice they make. Boone moves through this darkness with a new sense of clarity. The doubts that clouded him earlier now burn away, replaced by a hard determination that has been forming piece by piece. He understands that the danger is no longer something he can outrun. It's already around him, shaping the world he walks through, waiting for him to make the wrong move. But instead of backing down, he leans into the pressure. Episode 4 shows this shift not through loud actions, but through the quiet strength that settles into him and understanding that if he doesn't take control now, someone else will take everything from him. As he confronts the path ahead, the truth starts to reveal itself in ways he didn't expect. People who avoided him earlier now seem restless, unable to hold their secrets steady. Some look at him with guilt, others with fear, and a few with a strange mix of respect and warning. These small reactions become clues, helping him piece together the puzzle he's been trying to solve. Episode 4 turns these moments into silent revelations, using simple gestures to show who is loyal, who is scared, and who has already chosen a side. The world around Boone no longer feels confusing, it feels exposed. Meanwhile, the quiet mastermind operating behind the scenes begins to push harder. Their presence becomes impossible to ignore. They appear exactly where tension is highest, dropping words that sting with hidden meaning. They move with calm confidence, as if they've been planning this downfall long before anyone realized something was wrong. Episode 4 presents them as the invisible force shaping the chaos, someone who understands the power of timing and manipulation. Their actions don't explode, they ripple. And those ripples reach every part of the field until the entire operation feels unstable. The workers, caught in the middle of this unseen battle, feel the shift more strongly than ever. Conversations become tense, work slows down, and people start watching each other with wary eyes. They sense that something big is unfolding beyond their control. Rumors turn into anxiety. Fear begins to change routines. Even the machinery seems louder, as if it's reacting to the unease in the people who operate it. Episode 4 allows their reactions to amplify the emotional weight of the story, reminding viewers that power moves at the top always echo downward. Personal conflicts reach their breaking point too. The arguments from earlier now turn into decisions that cannot be undone. Some characters choose to step away to protect themselves, while others decide to stand firm even when the ground beneath them feels uncertain. Old relationships begin to fracture. New alliances are formed out of necessity rather than trust. Episode 4 intensifies this emotional turmoil, showing how pressure can reshape bonds, push people to extremes, and reveal who they really are beneath the masks they wear. As Ben pushes closer to the truth, he uncovers something that changes the direction of everything. A detail, a discovery, a realization. It's not shouted or highlighted, but the moment carries enough weight to shift the entire story forward. This is the point where episode 4 transforms from tension to momentum. The truth is no longer a distant threat. It is right in front of him, forcing him to face the possibility that the betrayal he feared is far deeper than he imagined. And worse, he might have been looking in the wrong direction all along. By the time this section reaches its end, the world of episode 4 feels stretched to its limit. The land is quiet but charged, the characters are trapped between choices, and the truth is moments away from breaking the surface. The atmosphere becomes thick with anticipation, promising that once the next event unfolds, there will be no returning to the way things were. The episode prepares the audience for a reveal that won't just shake the characters, it will reshape the entire path of the season. Every breath, every decision, every shadow hints that the storm is finally ready to strike.